Okay, everyone, I have a 2010 Lexus ES350. Yep, ES350. I have a bad wheel bearing, but after doing some research online, it's just too hard to do the wheel bearing um, because you need to have a press, and if you don't have a press, you won't be able to get it out. Just too hard. Um, First, what you need to press out is this hub right here. This hub's got to be pressed out. Once you pressed it out, then you got to press the wheel bearing, which is this one right here. Press it out. So you got to do two presses, which is just too hard. Um, this one is actually bad because when you spin this, you can hear a scratching noise. Hear that? So I went online on eBay because I get most of my parts from eBay and ordered a used spindle. I'm gonna go ahead and replace the whole spindle, and this one's good. See, when you spin it, no noise. So you can get a used one. This one, I think it was over $100, $110, I believe. I'm gonna do both sides. The driver's side costs $145. But anyway, I looked online and haven't really seen how to take it off. But first thing you do is make sure you jack the car up, and of course safety first, and put it on jack stand and remove the tire. Once the tire come out, if you ever done a brake job or replace a rotor, of course you know to take everything out, the rotors and everything. I don't really do step by step. I'm just show you what I took off, and you know, you're a mechanic and you're doing it. Even if you're not a mechanic and you want to try it, it's not that hard. But the thing you really need is a really good impact or a good long ratchets, half-inch dry. But I've got this Milwaukee cordless impact, strongest one I out in the market. It's cost me about $400 to buy. It's really worth the money. Anyway, so once you got all the brakes and everything out, you need to take the nut off the CV axle, and this is the nut right here. It's a 12-point nut. You need a 30mm socket, 12-point socket. The 6-point is not going to work, so make sure you got that before you even attempt to take everything out. Once you got that out, and of course you got all the brakes and everything out, you want to remove the bolt from the shock. These bolts right here, and the nut is 22mm. Remove them. Remove the nut. I also removed the tie rod. The tie rod is 17mm, and then I removed the sway bar linkage. It's also a 17mm. When you remove the when you're taking the nut out, this tend to spin. So what you want to do is get a, where's my Allen socket here, get a, what size, a 6mm socket, Allen socket. Stick it right in here, and with a ratchet hold it while you loosen the nut up and get the nut out. Once you get it out, just get you a small jack, put it under the spindle, and jack the shock up until the sway bar link gets easy to come out. So once you come out, just put it off to the side. And after you get this off and that off and the tie rod off, you need to take off the lower ball joint. And the lower ball joint is held in by two nuts and a bolt, and they are 17 millimeter, and it's underneath the axle, right here, right there, underneath the axle, CV axle. Take that off also before you remove the spindle. Make sure you take the nut off the low ball joint. This one right here is 19 millimeter. Take that off, and of course you're gonna have two cotter pins, one for the tie rod and one for the lower ball joint. When you take this off right here, then you can take the lower ball joint off with it, with the spindle. It's easy to come out. See, the reason why I told you to take that nut off from the lower ball joint, because once you got it out, it's gonna be tight and you're gonna have to hold it and try to break it loose. So once it's already on the car, it's easier to come out. And this ball joint goes right here. To take this off, you don't want to hit the top, because you want to reuse this. But if you're replacing the low ball joint, by all means, hit the hell out of it. But what I use is this ball joint remover tool right here. It goes in like this, and then it pushes the top of the stud out. But this one, the hole right here is a little too small, so I had to cut it or grind it down, but it was still a little too small, so I just put it on there and hit it with a hammer, and then it wedge it up against the spindle and push this lower ball joint out. And when it comes loose, you have to take this this dust plate off, not off, but take the bolts. It's a 10 millimeter bolt. Just take the bolts out, and then it become loose. Then you can remove this ball joint, and now low control arm, or not control arm, low ball joint. I'm sorry. But also take the speed sensor off too. Forgot to take the speed sensor off. It's held in with the 10 millimeter bolt. Take it out and set it to the side, so that way you don't damage it. And if you have a bungee cord, just bungee it to the brake caliper, so that way it doesn't put struts on the brake lines right here. So once you got it out, it's really not that hard. Push this back, and then you pull the spindle out. Now I'm ready to put the new one in. I just gotta put the low ball joint back on. This one came with the, I don't know why they don't just take it off, because they cut the wire. See, you cut the wire, is no good. Just don't know why they took it off, but yeah, that's not too hard. Instead of just replacing the wheel bearing, because if you don't have the press, you're gonna have to take it to a shop, and a lot of shop doesn't really press the wheel bearing, because they don't have the right tools. They have the press, but they just don't have the right tools. You gotta have adapters and all this stuff. So, but yeah, this one is just bad, because you just make a grinding noise when you spin it. So I hope this helped, and good luck with your project.